Hey guys, it's Cayley. I am in my car again because I am outsourcing. I actually wasn't going to film today. I was going to just focus on sourcing without filming, but I had a really awesome experience that I wanted to share with you guys because I think it would be a really helpful tip for you while you are out at the thrift stores. I'm also at Panera again with the same order because I'm predictable. Okay, so my day started off pretty crappy. I planned on leaving very early in the morning to go sourcing, and I kind of have to do that because if I don't leave pretty early, because the thrift stores that I go to are so far away from me, it kind of messes up my day and doesn't give me enough time to source. At least not at more than one thrift store unless I leave early. So I have to leave somewhat early so that I can hit more than one. Otherwise, it doesn't seem worth it as far as driving goes. So I got up at like 6:30 this morning. I guess it was more like 6:45. And I wanted to leave by 7:30 to make it in time to, go to the post office, and also to make it to the thrift stores that open at 9. That way I had time to hit probably 3 today. Time limit to be back home, and that was what time was going to allow for me. And it just seemed like everything was working against me this morning. So, for instance, things weren't going right at my house. I had a bunch of stuff that was taking up my time. Then my other job sent me a bunch of questions that I had to answer right that moment. That took a couple hours. And then I also had a buyer on eBay whose item got shipped back to me because they put the wrong zip code in. So then I had to contact eBay, which if any of you have contacted eBay recently, you know that sometimes can be a long wait, especially if you use the chat, which is what I did. I should have probably just had them call me, but I needed to get to somebody right away. So I used the chat, and that took a good amount of time to get that figured out and just make sure that basically the buyer wasn't going to be able to come back at me and force me to refund them original shipping, because obviously that wasn't my fault. So all that to say, I left pretty late. I did not actually get to a thrift store until about 12 o'clock, which is very, very late. So I was thinking that my day was kind of ruined, but I had to go sourcing. I couldn't just not go because I need product. And so I decided to go, and I was thinking I would only be able to hit 1, maybe 2 thrift stores, but definitely not the 3 that I had planned. And so with that in mind, I was thinking that I wasn't going to be able to get a ton of product on the sourcing trip like I had planned on, which was honestly going to kind of ruin my week as far as my scheduling went for employees and when they were going to be at my house. So then I went to the first thrift store and had the absolute best experience, and I ended up getting an overflowing, it probably could have filled up 2 carts, an overflowing cart full of great, amazing items. So I don't think I would have been able to have found all of those items without using a method that I'm going to share with you now. So I passed by an area of purses, which I don't normally go to because it's kind of the, I guess you'd call them, the higher end area of the thrift store, and usually they price things so crazily high that I don't even bother going over there. I will every now and then, but I don't make it a normal habit because, like I said, every time I have been there, they price stuff absolutely ridiculously high, and it's usually brands that I don't consider high end. So anyways, I walked past this area that I don't normally go to, and a purse caught my eye. And it caught my eye because I recognized that it was the color tag that was 75% off that day. So I got to looking in that section, and I found a Coach handbag. I do want to say that just because there might be new resellers watching, if you are finding designer Coach handbags, or really any other higher end handbag, there is a possibility that it is a fake. So I just had to throw that out there because I didn't know that when I first started reselling. So I found this Coach handbag, I authenticated it, and so I picked it up. Now I have heard this tip from other resellers, which is when you find one great item, you should always check that same area for items from the same donator, because chances are if one person donates an item, the rest of their stuff is probably going to be put out at the same time, because all that stuff comes in batches, if that makes sense. So I have used this tip every time I've gone sourcing, but I've never had as much luck as I did today. I usually, I'll come across Lululemon, so then I'll look in the rest of the athletic section and I'll find a couple pieces of Lululemon. It doesn't always turn out, but sometimes. But today, you guys, I went ahead and looked through that section thinking I might find more higher end handbags, and I did. I found quite a few Coach pieces, and for some reason they were I don't know if they were just kind of hidden in that area so that nobody saw them until that color had been sitting there so long it became discounted. So I found a bunch of designer handbags with a discounted color tag. So then from there, because I had found so many designer handbags that appeared to have probably been from the same person, I went ahead and looked at the wallet area, which is in another section of the thrift store. And I don't usually go to it because it's just a lot of stuff to go through and there isn't usually nice stuff there. But again, I found some nicer designer wallets there. Again, make sure you authenticate if you're coming across this stuff. I just feel like I have to say that in case there's anybody new watching. But I found some more higher end wallets. So then later on, I was in the men's section and I found some higher end sweaters and also one Polo Ralph Lauren silk cashmere pullover sweater, which does very, very well. So I went ahead looking through that section and I found more and more and more, which appeared to be from the same person. Then later on, I was walking past the dress section, which I'm usually skipping the dress section now because it is so cold out that typically during this time of the year, I don't look at the dress section. I really heavily focus on jeans, jackets, and sweaters. But as I was walking past the dress aisle, at the end of the aisle, I noticed something that looked like quality. So I looked at the tag and it was Bowden, and I went ahead and picked it up because it was a great dress. Then I thought, because I'd had so much success with all the other categories in the store that, I wasn't normally going through, like the purses and wallets, I decided I might as well go ahead through the dresses because I found that Bowden piece at the end of the aisle. Maybe there was more. I found so many good things, you guys. My favorite find today was a For Love and Lemons dress. I've never found that brand before, and I found it simply because of that Bowden piece that was at the end. So this is my tip for you. If you are at the thrift store and you come across a higher end brand, take a look through the rest of that section, particularly in the same size if you can, because chances are the same person that donated the item probably donated a lot of other great items, and they were probably put out at the same time. So if you're finding one piece out of that collection that was donated, you'll probably find all of them. Even if it's not a section that you normally go through, if you happen to stumble across one, you might consider going through that section that day. So like I said, I have used this strategy in the past, but have never had this much success with it, and it really paid off today. And I wanted to share that with you in case that is a tip that you have not heard of, or tip that you have heard of but you haven't implemented. It really does pay off sometimes to go ahead and finish looking through the section to try and find pieces by the same person that donated the one that you found. So that is the end of my little chit chat. I just wanted to share that with you guys because I had such a great experience, and I think this could be really helpful for beginners, because as beginners, I think sometimes we try to focus on one section and you might find a great piece but then decide not to go through the rest of that section because it's not a section that you're comfortable with. For instance, if you're not comfortable selling men's jeans but you happen to walk past and at the end of the aisle you notice, let's say, a pair of Rock Revival men's jeans or a pair of BKE men's jeans, and you remember from watching other people's videos that is a good brand to pick up, so you pick them up, decide to go through the rest of the aisle, even if it is not something you're comfortable with or something you're not used to, because you may find more of that exact same brand. Alright guys, that's the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back with more tips and probably thrift hauls because I picked up a lot today. So stay tuned. Make sure you are subscribed and that you hit the notification bell. That way you get notified when those videos go live. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.